Good evening, students. So in the last class we discussed do form, question formation. So even in today's class let's continue the same discussion, and before that this is the time to learn meaning of new word that I gave you in the previous class. What was that? Forte. So I hope you found the meaning. And one more thing, before saying that, I would like to congratulate all those students who have been sending me right answers. So I am very glad to say that, and I really appreciate their interest of learning. So keep learning. Don't feel bad that I am not saying or taking your name here, because it's a big list. Okay, so the time is not enough to tell all those names. So many students have sent me right answers and I really appreciate them. So keep learning. Okay, so yes, now the meaning of forte. Forte is something at which person excels, or we can say that talent in short way, or to put it in a short or simple word, we can say that forte is talent or someone's skill or knack. So how can we use that in a sentence? We can say that cooking is my forte, that is my talent. Dancing is her forte, that is her talent. And acting is his forte. So in this way we can use the word forte. So now coming back to the class, I have written a few sentences here on the board. So here you have to frame do form questions for all these written sentences. And after completing this discussion, I'll move on to the question tag again, which is one of the important grammar items of your first PUC syllabus. So now, shall we begin this? Look at these sentences. Read the first one. And what is the structure? You have to remember the structure of yes or no question or do form question. That is helping verb or auxiliary, helping verb, and then they should be subject and then main verb and then object. So this is the structure of do form question. So now look at the first statement here or the sentence here. She wants to be with her parents. So now what you have to do? Just identify the verb, main verb, that is wants. So what you have to do? Remember, what are the do forms? Do, did and does, right? So now what did I say? When we add yes to the main verb or action verb, then it takes does. So here you have to write does, and then there should be subject. So which is the subject in the first statement or in a sentence? That is she. So does she, does she, and after that then what you have to write? Does she. You cannot write wants, but it has to be want. Does she want to be, just write the remaining sentences there. Does she want to be with her parents? So you have to put auxiliary verb in the position of subject, and then you have to write the subject and then the main verb, and then just write rest of the sentence or rest of the words which is there in the sentence. So this is your do form question. Does she want to be with her parents? So now look at the next question here. Parents have dreams about their children. So now look at the verb here. Which is the verb? Have is the verb. I told you have is obviously an auxiliary verb, helping verb, but here in this sentence, do you find any main or action verb? No. So when there is no action verb in a given sentence, and if there is only have forms or be forms in a given sentence, which means if you find parents are, were, have, if you find such kind of sentence, only one verb, if you find only one verb and that is helping verb in a sentence, that verb act both as main verb as well as helping verb. You cannot write have parents here because this is a do form sentences. You have to frame do form question to this sentence, and that is why you cannot consider this as a helping verb here, because this helping verb acts as the main verb here. So have is do. Okay, so when there is have, then it takes, if it is have, then it takes do. If it is has, then it takes does. If it is had, then it takes did. When there is no other verbs, when there is no other action verbs, if you find only one helping verb in a sentence, which means the helping verb acts as main verb in that sentence. So now how do you frame do form here? Have, as I said, if you find have, then it takes do. So you have to write do, and then there should be subject, parents. Do parents, write as it is. You need not change. Do parents have dreams, do parents have dreams about their children. I hope you're not confused. Okay. So do parents have dreams about their children? Look at the next sentence. The king collected more revenue by taxing his people. Now identify or recognize the verb here. Here we have the main verb, that is collected, action verb. So which means this is in the past tense because ed, collected. So when the verb is in the past, then we have to write did, right? So it becomes did, write D in the uppercase or capital letter. Did the king, and then not collected, because here we have written did. So did the king collect? Did the king collect more revenue by taxing his people? So did the king collect more revenue by taxing his people? Look at next question here. He fell from the ladder. Now identify the main verb here, which is that action verb fell. So is fell past tense or present tense? So fell is past tense. What is the present form of fell? That is fall. Fall is the present form of fell, which means here we have to take did. So did he, you cannot write fell, you have to write the present form of fell, that is fall. Did he fall from the ladder? Did he fall from the ladder? Look at the next question here. They went to America. So again, identify the verb here, which is that verb, that is went. Again, which is the present form of went, that is go. Go is the present form and went is the past form. So which means we have to write the which form of the do, that is did. Did they, again you cannot write went, it has to be go. Did they go to America? Question mark. Look at here. He discovered the truth. Again, the verb here, discovered. Again, ed, right, which means this is in the past tense, so it takes did. Did he, you have to write discover. Did he discover discover the truth. I hope you are able to understand. Okay. So does for the first one, and then do, then did because collected, then again did, fell, now did again because went, and now did, discovered. Okay. Look at the last sentence here. She wrote a nice essay. So here the main verb, that is past, in the past, right. So wrote, the present form of wrote is write. So it becomes did she write, did she write a nice essay? Did she write a nice essay? So this is how you write or form to form questions. So I hope you understood. Okay. We'll move on to the next level. So remember, kindly remember, as I said, your do form or adding the right do form, that depends on the verb here. Remember, when we add yes to the main or action verb, it takes does, and again you should not write the verb which is added to yes, or you should not write the word where you have added yes to that. So remember that. For example, again I am reminding, if you find this verb in a sentence, then it takes do. If you find sings, then it takes does. If you find sang, S-A-N-G, sang, then it takes did. So always remember, do form depends on your verb. So you have to be familiar with the forms of verb. So now I think these examples are enough to understand do form questions. So now I'll move on to another important items of your grammar, that is question tag. Question tag. You might have studied this in your previous classes. So what do you mean by question tag? And one more thing, this is again the easiest grammar item, question tag. So what do you mean by question tag? The phrases such as isn't it, don't you, aren't you. So phrases such as isn't it, don't you, aren't you, that you add or that we add at the end of a statement to turn that into a question or to check whether the statement that we have made right or wrong, that is called question tag. Or we can say that mini questions that we add at the end of the statement in a spoken English or while speaking. Right. For example, she is good. Isn't she? In that way. We make statement and then just to make sure or just to check whether the statement that we have made right or wrong, for that we add that mini questions at the end of the statement. So that is what we call question tag. So now there are three forms of question tags. So let's discuss one by one. So there are three forms of question tags, and that is positive to negative, positive to negative, and the second one negative to positive, and the third one imperative. Imperative question tags. So now let's look at one by one. So what do you mean by positive to negative? Which means if the statement or if the sentence, given sentence, that is positive, then the tag must be negative. So how do we identify whether the statement or the sentence that is given positive or negative? So what makes a sentence negative? So if you find the word not, in a sentence, which means the sentence is negative. I hope you are able to identify the negative words in a sentence. Okay, that is not. If you find the word not in a sentence, given sentence, which means that sentence is negative. Okay, if you don't find not in a sentence, which means the given sentence is positive, then the tag must be negative. Before that, how do we frame tag now? With the help of helping verbs. I told you that helping verbs play a very vital role in all the question forms. So kindly remember them. So again, be form, helping verb, and then have form, and then do form. Okay, under that we have am, is, are, was, are, and were. And here has, had, does, and did. Remember, we use do form verbs only when we don't find be and have form verbs in a sentence. Then only you can use do form helping verb. Otherwise, we have to write what the verbs which are given in the sentence itself. And again, we should also include modal verbs. Modal verbs. Modal verbs are will, could, should, shall, must, like that. So now, as I said, the structure of question tag is auxiliary verb, auxiliary same as helping verb, auxiliary verb plus personal pronouns. What do you mean by pronoun? Pronoun is he, she, they, we, you, I, these are all, and it, these are all pronouns. Remember, we use these pronouns after auxiliary verb. This is how we make or frame question tags. So this is the structure of a question tag, auxiliary verb and plus personal pronouns, which is given in the sentence. Okay, now let's look at this one. What did I say? Positive to negative, which means if the sentence is positive, then the tag must be negative. So in the tag we have to add not to the helping verb. Okay, isn't. For example, isn't. So now next one. Look at this. Negative to positive. What is this negative to positive? Which means if the given sentence is negative, this is very simple to identify, that I told you, if you find the word not in a sentence, which means that is the sentence is in negative. The sentence is negative. Then the tag must be positive. If the given sentence is negative, then the tag must be positive. Now the last one, imperative. So here both the statement as well as the tag must be in positive, and it will be in positive, but in some context it becomes negative too, but I don't think that is necessary now for you. But remember, so whenever we talk about command or order, when we are ordering someone or commanding someone, then it takes will you. So command and order, that is an imperative sentence. I'll discuss that later. Just this is the introduction. Okay. So in imperative sentence especially, the orders and command that is followed by will you. This will be the tag for that. And if the imperative sentence that begins with let's, let us, let's is let us, okay, then it becomes, the tag becomes shall we. Shall we, okay, question mark. Again, question mark is very important. So this is the introduction to 3 forms of question tags. Now, There is one more important information that we need to keep in our mind while framing question tags. So, there is not only one word that makes the sentence negative. So, till now we have seen that the word not makes the sentence negative. But along with not, there are also other words which make the sentence negative. So, you should also remember that not only the word not makes the sentence negative, but there are also other negative words which makes the sentence negative. So, let's look at that. Not, and then never, none, and then neither, nor, seldom. Seldom is S-E-L-D-O-M, seldom, which means very rare, rarely. Again, the word rarely, and then barely, few, little. So these are negative words. Remember, all these words make the sentence negative. So if you find, and one more thing, if you find a few and a little, or the few, the little, then that is positive. If you find a few, a little, the few, then the sentence is positive. The tag should be negative here. These are not negative words. When you add article before few and little, then it won't be negative. But if there is no article used before few and little, then that means that is negative words. So these words make the sentence negative. Then the tag must be positive. So remember all these words. Okay. So I know that some of you may feel that this is very difficult and confused, but don't worry, we'll discuss step by step. Okay. So I hope you understood this much. Okay. Remember, and please take these words down because these are important. So again, I'm repeating, if you find these words in a sentence, which means the sentence or the statement is negative. Statement is negative, and then the tag must be positive. So now let's discuss the first one. That is positive to negative. I'll write a few sentences now. Yes. Look at this. Positive to negative. Okay, which means here all the statements or the sentences that I have written here, all those are positive because you don't find any of these words here. Do you find? There is nothing. We don't find any negative words there, and that is why these sentences are positive. But here the tags of these sentences must be negative. I hope you understood. So look at this. The first sentence here. It is raining. And one more, observe, in all these sentences, I have written or the be form and have form verbs are given, helping verbs. So you need not derive do form verbs here, or you need not write do form verbs here, because we have be form and have form verbs. In case you don't find any of these verbs, be form or have form verbs, then you have to write the right form of do. Same as that we discussed while discussing WH question formation. So when there is no helping verb, be form and have form helping verb, then we have to write the right form of do. So now the first sentence, it is raining. So this is the way of writing question tag. So after the sentence you have to put comma and then you have to write the question tag. So as I said, so how do we frame question tag? We have to take this helping verb here. Write it here. Is. As I said, this is positive. Now the question tag. Tag must be negative. So how do we make it negative? We have to add NT to is. That is not. Okay, it becomes isn't. So in this way. This is the format for all the question tags. Write helping verb and then N''T. Isn't. In this way you have to write. You should not write is not. That is wrong. Okay. So isn't, and this apostrophe is again important. I hope you remember. Is, put is here and then add NT when the statement is positive. Okay. It is raining. Isn't. And then you have to take this subject which is a pronoun here. Isn't it? Question mark. Remember, except pronouns. What are pronouns? Personal pronouns. I, you, we, and then they, it, she, he. These are personal pronouns. Except these personal pronouns, you should not write any proper nouns after the question tag. I mean after writing helping or auxiliary verb. They must be pronoun. Okay. So now, it is raining, isn't it? So here the statement or the sentence is positive, the tag is negative. Simple. Now look at the next question. The dog is barking. So when you see the sentence or the question or the statement in the question paper, then you have to analyze if there is, or you have to make sure if there is a helping verb or not. That is very important. So if there is a helping verb, you have to write the same helping verb after putting comma. So now we have helping verb here, which is the be form helping verb. Write is right after barking. Put comma and then write is. Then what you have to do? This is positive and that is why you have to make it negative. So how do we make it negative? By adding NT. Isn't. And now you're not supposed to write isn't the dog. What did I say? You have to write the pronoun. Usually we don't use he or she for dog, it. So whenever you find the names of animal or birds or an object in the subject, then you have to make it. Remember, even for you find this and that in the subject, if you find this and that in the subject position in the question, then it becomes it in the question tag. Can you see this? Yes. The dog is barking. So it becomes isn't it. Isn't it. So you have to write in this way even in the examination. Don't just write the tag. Don't just write only the tag, but you have to write along with the sentence, and that has to be put at the end of the statement or the sentence. So the dog is barking, isn't it? Look at the next one. He is reading. He is reading. So now there is a helping verb. You can see that. That is. What you have to do? Take that is to this position. Is. And then we have to make it negative. How? Adding NT. Isn't. So isn't he. Isn't he. Isn't he. Now, I'll take this, I'll rub this pronoun and write Radha. This is the proper noun. Okay. Radha has completed writing. So now, which is the verb here? Has. So remember, what did I tell you? Yes. Now, has. This is a has or have form, helping verb. Now, you have to take this here, has. The same follows even here. We have to add nt to has. So it becomes hasn't. You cannot write Radha. What did I say? Which is the right pronoun for Radha? Radha is a girl. So we have to write she. Okay. So Radha has completed writing. So now, hasn't she? Hasn't she? This is how you need to write the pronoun instead of proper noun. If you write proper noun, that will be wrong. You lose mark. Now, look at the last sentence. Tom has money. So here, has. There is only one verb here. Remember, there is only, look at all these sentences, there are two verbs. One is helping verb and another is main verb. But here, in this sentence, there is only one verb. There is no other action verb. There is only one verb. What did I say? When there is only one verb and that too a helping verb. If you find only helping verb in a sentence, which means that acts as both helping verb as well as main verb. So here has is not only helping verb, but this acts as main verb here because we do not have any other main or action verb. So that is why this we can consider as main verb. So here you can write two answers. You can write answer in two ways. Now, has, write has, hasn't, he. You cannot write Tom, he. Tom is a boy, so the pronoun which suits, that is he. So hasn't he. This is the one way of writing, that is taking this verb and adding nt. But you can also write, since this is the main verb, you can also write does here. See, you did not worry much about this. If you find it difficult to understand, just follow this, that is enough. But there is also American version which also says it can be written doesn't he. Doesn't he. Why? Because here has is also a main verb. So if you find it difficult, don't take this into your mind. Okay, that is enough. I mean, this is just for your information. This is enough for you to understand. But if you write doesn't in the examination, when the helping verb acts as main verb, obviously your answers will be considered as right. So just for your information. So I hope you understood. So I think this is enough for today's class, and we'll discuss the other two forms in the next class with some more examples. So please remember all the question forms that have been discussed so far. And before winding up this class, so let me give you another new word, and that is admire. This is not a new word, you might have heard, but most of us do not know how to use this word in a sentence. So get the meaning of this word. Okay. So I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.